Hi everybody, it's me, Sam B, and I'm your host of Caught in the Wool, a podcast put on by Bumblebee Acres Farm. It's a fiber artists podcast where I talk to you about yarn, fiber, designing, living on a fiber farm, Bumblebee Acres in general, and just anything to do with fiber and life and blah, 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 blah. Isn't that what podcasts are, where I just sit here and I talk to you about anything? Yes? No? Yes? I don't know. I'm trying to work on like a better introduction for new people who are joining us because I have new people joining the podcast regularly, which is super exciting. And for everybody who's been here from the beginning or been here for the past couple episodes, or if you are just binge watching right now, welcome. It's great to have you. If you know anything about me, Sam B, Sam B, you know what? I'm an English major, but when I get into talking about anything, I sometimes say, who cares about grammar? Because I'm not uppity about it. Anyways, back on topic. I am trying to make a better introduction so that way if you are new to the podcast, or even if you are you've been here around for a while, I want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on in the beginning of each episode. So this is the 11th episode. I wish that I had like sparklers and fireworks and all kinds of stuff, but I didn't bring my usual magic tricks. But I don't know, I'm in like a super goofy mood today, you guys. It is so beautiful out. It is in the 50s. Hold on, wait. I want to give you guys the exact temperature. So, if you are new here, we are in Harvard, Illinois, and it is 57 degrees outside right now. So, I literally walked down in just the sweater. I put on my shawl for filming, but I just walked down in a cotton sweater, and it is so beautiful out. This kind of weather, like springtime, just makes me so happy. So yeah, I am here to talk to you about so many things today. So let's get into it. This will be a pretty long episode because I want to talk to you guys more about the shows I went to. We're going to talk about needles and sock knitting. I'm going to talk about all of that beauty, all of this beauty right here. Just a precursor to that. Queen Bee and Sen B and I were at a fiber festival in Milwaukee, the Midwest Fiber Fest, all weekend. And when we got back, Queen Bee went crazy yesterday and dyed up like 2, 4, 6. I have 8 yarns there, but she came up with 6 new yarns, 7. The one we aren't releasing because we decided it is a perfect Tour de Tolkien colorway. If you are new here, Tour de Tolkien is our monthly surprise Lord of the Rings Middle Earth tour through Middle Earth, where we go on the actual tour of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and we go to all the places that they went to, and yeah, and you get a cool little button or stitch marker, or sometimes both, with every month, and you get awesome things. Besides that, like a surprise yarn, and a, what's the other thing? You get a flyer, sort of. Not flyer, postcard. Sometimes they're posters sort of things. It's hard to explain, but you know, you're going to each location on the grand journey of Lord of the Rings, so you get kind of like a postcard with each one. So that's cool. And speaking of Tour de Tolkien, I just want to say real quick, those two yarns are February's Tour de Tolkien right there, and I'm going to show you those later and talk more about the monthly clubs. But back into shows, I wanted to tell you guys about how Midwest Fiber Frolic went. So, well, one, it wasn't a super far away show. Sometimes we do really far away shows. Last year, the farthest we went was Minnesota. We went to Shepherd's Harvest, and we'll be going there again this year, and I'm so excited because I literally loved Shepherd's Harvest. I loved where we were staying. We stayed at the White Bear, Best Western, I think it was. I might be confused about it, but it was a hotel in White Bear, Minnesota, White Bear Lake. You know what? It's one of those, but we stayed there, and it was right on White Bear Lake, and it was so beautiful. Everything was so lush and just gorgeous. And like, I don't know, Minnesota stole my heart. I thought it wasn't going to be any better than Illinois or northern Wisconsin, like what have you. Northern Wisconsin is beautiful too, but I don't know, Minnesota just had something about it. The air was cleaner up there, which, you know, isn't that surprising? Because if you think about it, the pollution from a city as big as Chicago is insane. So, yeah, it was beautiful. But that is the farthest that we do go for shows so far, will have been. This year, we are going all the way to Colorado for the Estes Park Fiber Festival, and we are also going to Maryland Sheep and Wool in May. So that's actually like the weekend right before Minnesota. So we kind of have a lot of big shows back to back to back. But yeah, I love doing shows. Queen Bee and Sen Bee are of the same mind. We love doing shows because we get to meet all of you. All of our friends, people that order from us from all over the United States. Unfortunately, we don't do any shows across seas or in Canada, but maybe someday that would be really fun. Even if it was just like a small, like little pop-up trunk like show thing, that'd be awesome. I know that the Edinburgh Yarn Festival is coming up, and I mentioned in the last podcast that one of my best friends lives in Edinburgh, and I wish that I could go. Who knows? Maybe someday my podcast, Caught in the Wool, will be famous and I get to be invited to be a podcaster there, like for their podcasters lounge. That would be, I mean, that's a dream, right? But until my wild, crazy dreams come true, I will be here in the US meeting you guys, and I am just smiling so much my cheeks hurt. I am in such a good mood from all the sunshine, like I can't, I'm just so happy right now. And I have coffee, and I'm kind of going all over the place as I usually do, but yeah, I got to meet, well, not just me, but the other bees as well, at the Midwest Fiber Frolic this past weekend. A ton of our regular customers came, some new customers, some new people who follow the podcast, some people who have just heard of us, and then we made a whole bunch of new friends as well. And it was so cool. I don't know if you guys know, but I am the designer for Bumblebee Acres Farm. So I design a lot of patterns for us in-house. Sen Bee does too. She helps design some things, and she also designed the Mrs. Weasley's Quick Knit Cap. I don't know if you saw it on our Instagram or anything, but I will be releasing that soon. I'm thinking of releasing it March 12th for Queen Bee's birthday. because that is her birthday, and I think I might release it the day before. It's a free pattern. Senbi also designed the Sakaday socks that are coming out on March 1st. So yes, she does a lot of the designing as well. I am super, and I'm talking really loud because I'm trying a new sound system, so just bear with me. If the sound is still goofy, I'm sorry. I will be getting, hopefully, a new microphone set up so it doesn't sound so echoey, but if it does, I really apologize. But yeah, I keep going all over the place. I'm sorry. I was so excited because so many people showed up wearing my designs. So my shawls, I'm pretty sure they were all shawls and wraps, and also just regular friends wearing awesome sweaters and stuff, people just wearing things made out of Bumblebee Acres. So a few awesome people let me take pictures of them, and I'm going to play them now and put them over my face right now. And just, it's just amazing. Like, as you can see here, there are these two wonderful ladies, and they both knit my gathering shawl pattern, and one of them used bubble sock and the other used the regular coquette sock, and it's just, I mean, it's just crazy how they, oh gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I had somebody show up who actually knit our advent calendar, Harry Potter advent calendar for this past year in the Mountains of Minis wrap, which is on Ravelry. And somebody else who crocheted her own design out of the same club. It was just awesome. So anyways, thank you to everybody who let me take their picture and post it, etc. And it was lovely seeing everybody. It was just great. There were some people I forgot to photograph just because we had a great turnout. Last year, Sheep in the City is what this festival was called. That was this weekend. They switched people who were running it, and they switched hotels, and they switched up a few things, and they switched the name to Midwest Fiber Frolic, and, you know, we had a great year. It was a little slow last year, but this year it was wonderful, and it was great to be a part of it. So thank you to Ogle Designs who put it on. They are a yarn company that does a small indie dyer yarn company, and they do a lot of gradient yarns. So yes, I know that they use, the last time I really looked at their yarn, I didn't get to this past weekend because I was very busy and I only got to talk to a few people outside of the booth. But they use a really nice BFL base that is just gorgeous. So I definitely recommend checking them out if you like gradients. I haven't been on their website, but I will put a link in the description as always. Yeah, you know, I'm not worried about going very far for fiber festivals. I have been to Rhinebeck before, not as a business, but I went during college because my college was only about an hour away from Rhinebeck, New York, and it was so beautiful. It was very cold that weekend, so definitely sweater weather, if not like full coat. I remember I wore like my suede leather jacket deal and a my favorite shawl made out of our space-time continuum yarn. And I was freezing. I was absolutely freezing, and the lines for food were so long, and I wanted hot soup or something, and it took forever to get it, but the food was delicious. So if you plan on going, I recommend packing snacks always if you're going to a big fiber festival. Usually the state fiber festivals, so New York sheep and wool like Rhinebeck, Maryland sheep and wool, Wisconsin sheep and wool, the lines for the food can be super long. So I always recommend having a little bit of a snack on you, especially since I'm diabetic and my blood sugars can go low if I don't eat regularly. So yeah, yes. And always make sure you're dressed for the weather and you don't just try to wing it and say, oh, I can handle 50 degrees all day in barns. Think again, Sam. But the only problem with going far away for fiber festivals is that I don't get to see Peach. And Peach is literally curled up on sheepskins right now on a chase. Like the princess she is. I would have her in the video, but she's sleeping and she seems pretty happy, so I'm just gonna leave her. But yeah, leaving Peach is the worst part, and I literally sit there the whole time and I say, I just miss Peach. I just wish Peach were here, like during the car ride, during the show, like itself, the festivals themselves. I'm always too busy to like really think or do anything. Sometimes even eat, but yeah, I miss Peach a lot. But yeah, so our next show, oh well, thank you to everybody who came out. Our next show is in Indiana, and this year, 2018, we have 3 shows currently in Indiana. So we've never done a show in Indiana before. Last year we were going to do the Hoosier Hills, which we are doing this year. We had planned on attending it, but we had a car accident, and it was our only vehicle and our only vehicle that could tow, and we all had horrible colds, which is kind of the reason why I got into a car accident. And don't worry, nobody was seriously injured or anything except for our car. And yeah, that kind of put like a kink in our plans because we weren't able to replace our car for like 2 weeks. So we were stranded on the farm for like 2 weeks. We had some great friends like Lori, Majestic Mages, who I've mentioned before, and Muggle Studies on Ravelry. She helped drive us around and helped us pick out our new car. So thank God for her. But this year, we will be at 3 shows, and the first of which is, I have a lot of shows to remember, so I took screenshots of everything. So our first show is March. Wait, which one is the screenshot that I took? You know what? I thought I took a screenshot, but apparently I just had it in my Safari. Okay, so it's the Jay County Fiber Arts Festival, and it's March 9th from 10 to 5, and March 10th from 9 to 4. So I believe that is a Friday and Saturday? Yes, Friday and Saturday. So we are going to be there. It's in Jay County, or I guess Portland is the name of the town or city that it's in. And it's going to be in the Jay Community Center. So I'm excited because it's pretty close to Ohio is what my mom was telling me. And like I said, we didn't ever get to do a fiber festival in, what am I trying to say? In Indiana before. So that's super exciting. And yeah. Besides that, we are doing the Hoosier Hills one, and we are also doing in April, so before Hoosier Hills, before anything, we are doing the fiber event at Greencastle. So that one's pretty close to Indianapolis, I know. So super exciting stuff. I have to reserve hotels because currently, who knows where we are sleeping. We might just sleep in our trailer, our empty, cold trailer. Just kidding. We wouldn't do that. People have recommended that. Some of our friends have recommended, oh, you should just do that at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. Like, you know, just put in an air mattress. And I'm like, please no. I don't want to live like that. I mean, I don't have a problem with people who want to camp and stuff, but I'm not really much of a camper. I guess it would be better to be in a structure than a tent. Whenever I camp in tents, I always wake up with you're always damp. And I just don't like being damp. I don't like it. So, yeah, we prefer hotels. And yeah, I'm just super excited. So if you are a Caught in the Wool fan, if you're watching this and you are in Indiana, definitely check out our show schedule. If you are anywhere, check out our show schedule anywhere in the USA. And we will hopefully be at a show near you. We do so many shows because, and the link for that's in the description. We do so many shows because, well, I've been talking to other friends lately who also do indie dyeing, and they do wholesale. And I mentioned before, it might have been in the last podcast, that Bumblebee Acres is never going to go wholesale. It's just not for us. Queen Bee does, and Sen Bee, they do incredible detailed work on their yarns. So to sell our yarns at wholesale, which is half the price of a full price skein, would be just insane for us, because instead of dyeing 2 to 3, 4, some people even dye more than that in a pan at a time, if you've ever researched the dyeing process. And there's nothing wrong with that. You get beautiful colorways that way, and you get yarns that knit up a very different way. But their process and the way that they like to make their yarns is a lot more detailed. And sometimes they paint, speckle, dye in the kettle. Sometimes they'll do all 3 of those in one yarn. A lot of them, they'll do at least 2 of those. So it's just, we can't produce mass amounts of yarn, even though they are crazy efficient dyers and artists. They just don't, we don't have that kind of output. And we decided we don't want to be a business where we are creating yarn to meet a demand, because there are lots of indie dyers, and we want to create yarn that is each individually a work of art. And yeah, so we will just keep on doing things that we do, which is make beautiful yarn and patterns and fiber for you to spin and sell it through us. Another thing is that I love to meet people. I love making friends. If you haven't noticed already, I love making fiber friends. I love talking about my fiber friends. I love featuring my fiber friends. I love all of that stuff. So I don't want to ever give somebody else the opportunity to meet you guys when I can meet you guys. And yeah, I guess it can be a good business move, especially if you can't get to a show in a certain state or what have you. A local yarn shop will get your name out there. And I love the local yarn shops, but I would rather meet you guys myself, and so would Queen Bee, and so would Sen Bee. So yeah, that's that. And also, we'll always be selling online, because I can write you guys personal notes with every order. Yeah, so that's that. And now, what's next on my agenda? I'd written out my outline this time, like a good girl. I did this right. And my cheeks are hurting from smiling so much. Yeah, so I wanted to talk to you guys about some new yarns and about some whips, and I don't have any FOs this week. I'm trying to think. No, I don't. So I'm going to show you guys some of the other Bumblebee's whips, and yeah. I also want to show you guys real quick, since we're still sort of on the topic of shows, that yarn up there that I scored at the Midwest Fiber Frolic. So I'm gonna grab it down. Oh my gosh. So these I'm so excited about. Hold on, I need to get a sip of coffee because my throat is drying out. Oh, and that's my Joyful and Cozy Cup Cozy pattern. If you haven't seen it, this one is cozy, I believe. I'm blanking now because I haven't, you know, I'm not always all there, but this is a Joyful and Cozy Cup Cozy patterns. This is the one without the button. The one with the button is up there, but yeah, I'm using it today on my McCafe, and I don't know if people ever talk about this in a podcast, but my drink of choice today, I mean, I like lots of different coffees and teas and stuff, but today I am drinking just a regular iced coffee, no flavor, light on the liquid sugar with a shot of espresso, because sometimes I feel like they might make iced coffees way too sweet and too creamy, and sometimes they don't put enough coffee in there. Sometimes it's just not enough coffee at all. And I love the taste of McDonald's coffee. I don't know what it is. It's just a nice mild flavor. It's not too dark. It's not too bitter. It doesn't usually make me feel sick after, because sometimes very coffee can make me feel a little sick. So this is very good and refreshing. Yeah. So what I have here is fingering, wait, no, it's not fingering. Wait, one of them says worsted. The other says sport. I would say it's sport. This is sport weight Cormo, 100% Cormo. It was sold to me by Bleeding Heart Haven. I don't know if you can read that. This is from their own Cormo sheep. It's 230 yards for each one, and she was selling them for $12.50, but she had a sale at the show. She's getting out of her Cormo, and she's just going to be doing mohair goats, I believe, is what she was saying. And we might possibly look into getting some of her sheep that she is rehoming, but she hand dyed these. I've seen her at, I want to say, Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, and she's always had beautiful fibers. She was selling these for $5 a skein, and I was like, what? I don't usually buy other people's yarn. You know that. I've talked about it before. I don't usually have time to knit with other people's yarn. But these were so cute, and they're from a local farm, and that's about the only time that I will buy from anyone is if I'm supporting a local farm, because their yarn is something that no one else can make, because it's their yarn from their animals. So yes, and we raise Cormo sheep, and so you know I love Cormo sheep, and I figured if I want to do a big project, I can work this into something with my own sheep wool, or just make something for, well, that's 100% just this project. I mean, I have, what's 230 times 4? That's 8, 9, what? 920? Is that right? Whatever. I'm not a mathematician. I'm an English major, psychology, double major. I don't do math all day. But yes, these were so beautiful, and they're so squashy and springy. And I don't know if you've ever played with, I don't know if you've ever played with Cormo before, but it's such a springy, nice, squashy fiber. You know, you definitely get differences from sheep to sheep, but sorry I keep playing with my hair. I cut my own hair. But yeah, this is beautiful. She had not a lot left, which I'm not surprised, because $5 a skein for Cormo. I got 2, I think these were the last 2 of this sorbet color. And I got one of pink lemonade. And pink lemonade does have a little bit of pink in it, but it's It's kind of a rusty color, but I like it. And then I got this one, which is too unique, and the unique is spelled like sheep U, and it's kind of like a lily pad kind of pea soup kind of green. Some people may be like, ew, pea soup, but pea soup is one of my favorite soups, so yeah. Let me get them back up there. So yeah, if you like mohair and other fibers, check her out. I will put the link to her shop below if I can find it. I think there's a link on her tag, but yeah, sometimes I know that farming, it's hard to keep up with the shop. So if she has a shop, that's awesome, and you should check it out. And yeah, I like mohair, and I think that that's great that she's going full mohair. I think that's what she said, or just Angora. Maybe she's just going bunny. Maybe I'm misspeaking. I didn't talk to her. It was my mom and sister who were talking to her, and then I came and talked to them about it. So yeah. So I'm not going to talk about it much more because I don't want to misspeak. But yeah, you should check out her stuff because it's very cute yarn, and I'm super excited to finally work with it. I also want to show you guys the new yarns that we're coming out with this Friday. And I'm fiddling with my hair tie. Yeah, about my hair. I get into these moods where I really need a haircut. I feel like my hair grows very fast, and it always has. I'm lucky with that. It's one of my good features. And I get frustrated as heck with not being able to go to the salon when I want to. Also, I don't know. I have a hard time sitting in a salon chair and talking to people because I naturally like to talk to people. You can tell I like to talk a lot. And I like to talk to the hairdresser, but they don't really understand my life. They don't really understand the fiber farm thing, etc., etc. And sometimes I've noticed that if you aren't careful and you dress a certain way when you go into a hair salon and you tell them what kind of haircut you want, they will try to give you a haircut that fits the outfit you're wearing. And yeah, so I have ended up with some very like conservative, preppy, long layers, and you know, that's not really the look I like for myself because, well, one, my hair is super heavy, so if I don't have these short layers, my hair feels really heavy and I'm always wearing it up, and it really annoys me just to have it hanging there, and I feel like it doesn't frame my face right. And sorry, I keep itching my face, speaking of faces. So about this time last year, I decided I'm just gonna Google it and see if I can cut my own hair. And you know what? I found this awesome tutorial where you can use a hair tie, and depending on where you place your ponytail, you can give yourself different kind of layers. So yeah, I would look into it if you want to be a weirdo and cut your own hair like me. Yeah, but I think it turned out kind of cute. I mean, it's the exact way I would want my haircut, and they don't always give me the haircut that I want. So it's not even a complicated haircut. They just try to do too long of layers, or, you know, the layers are all even, or they go too short. So I just do it myself, and if it's a little messed up, hey, at least it's not messed up and I paid for it, you know? So, yeah, that's just a goofy thing about me, but let's talk about yarn, you guys. Like, that's why we're here. I'm starting off with these guys. This is our Squishy DK base. This colorway does not yet have a name. They are intensely, insanely speckled. They're just gorgeous. I saw them and I said, for me? And Mom said, no. She says that these are one of a kind. Well, two of a kind, because she dyed them in the pot two together, because she wanted to make them as matching as possible. So that's the only time we dye more than one yarn at a time, is when we put two in the pan at once. And that, we don't do any more than that because none of our colorways can handle being done more than one at a time. And even then, it's usually with colorways that don't need a ton of blending. So it's only stuff that gets intensely speckled. Or, yeah. So they only ever really do one at a time, and then the very occasional colorway is done two at a time. So this one was done two at a time, and Queen Bee says that they are the only ones she's ever doing. She didn't write down the color, the colorway that she used. She says that she doesn't like that red. Do you see that red in there? And I said, no, that like burgundy gives it a really nice touch. And she said, no, I don't like it. It's an ugly red. You know how artists get. She doesn't realize that she creates incredibly beautiful things. So these are going to go in the shop probably on Friday. They haven't been named yet. And I am going to try to convince Queen Bee to make this a regular colorway in the meantime. Even if it turns out a little slightly different because she can't remember the exact color she used, I think that it's totally worth her, like, even getting one that's slightly like this. I mean, this would make a beautiful, beautiful, well, anything but sweater. Come on. This is gorgeous. Okay. So these are on Squishy DK, so you can expect them in the shop on Friday. And I have, oh, before I get into those, I'm going to show you guys these. Oh, sorry, this one's a little messy. Do you see those like little black specks? This was our Tour de Token for February, and this is the Barrow Downs. So that's where we went last. Oh my gosh, look at this bright lime green. So we were trying to go for the effect of, I say we, even though I'm not the dyer. Queen Bee was trying to go for the effect of the mists that and fog that Tolkien describes near the Barrow Downs, and that green light. And I mean, the black is just adds to the eeriness. And I am so in love that I made her let me keep one. So yeah, she wanted to keep one as well. So we got to keep two of our little skeins, and I am so psyched about it. I'm so psyched about it. I don't know yet what I'm going to make with mine, but it's going in the stash. It's going in the stash with those, and you know, what have you. So signups are open for March. So for that, and for our Hogwarts Order of Magical Makers, which is our Harry Potter inspired, J.K. Rowling inspired club, monthly club. And that club, we don't really have an exact theme for it, so we aren't going to all locations. Like Tour de Tolkien is all locations for that specific club. It's only going to be the different destinations in Lord of the Rings. And Harry Potter, we can do destinations, we do just things, objects, magical creatures, events that take place, just all kinds of cool stuff. And yeah, so and actually March's is going to be so cool. And I'm already working on the button for it, and I'll give you a little hint. It is a location, so that's exciting. For Tour de Tolkien, I know what that is too, but I can't give you a hint on that because I feel like it would give it away. But Harry Potter's is a location this month. So yeah. Well, not this month because it's still February, but for this upcoming month of March. And now, my tin of yarns. Last week I had a basket. I used that basket, but I have all of my, oh my god. Do you want to just see it all? It's so pretty. Okay, so last week I put them all in that basket, but this week I have sock knitting projects in here. So when I talk about my needle opinions and such, I can just grab it all out of the basket and it's all very handy. So Queen Bee, like I said, oh, this one had a feather on it. Just came up with all of these crazy colorways. So let's start with these two. So these two are on the, oh gosh, I'm not going to say right and left because for you guys it's going to be mirror image. This one is called Cape and this one is called Inlet. And just, she went crazy with the speckles. She doesn't usually do just, you know, focus on speckles for a lot of yarns. You know what, I don't even know why. It's just she likes to really die in the kettle, but this time around she was just inspired to do things that were very similar to these two yarns that we have here. So this is our regular I'll Await Your Owl colorway, and this is Diddly Eye, which is going to be leaving the shop soon, so if you want to get it, it is a limited edition. What am I trying to say? Limited edition St. Patrick's Day color. So if you like it, get it. We found out that this and French Liaison look amazing together. So if you want to do a two-color project, check those two out. So French Liaison and Diddly Eye look incredible together. And my video is lagging again. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Sorry, I keep restarting my video. So we decided that we want sort of speckled complementary colors. This I'll Await Your Owl looks good with so many things, and she paired it with Mrs. Weasley's Knits, which I think might also be coming to the shop this Friday or possibly next. It was at the show recently. That one and Tete-a-Tete were new, along with, I don't remember which other one was new, but those two were definitely new and they have not been added to the shop yet. So yes, excitement. So she did those two, Cape and Inlet, and also there is Kelpie and Driftwood. So these two are very similarly dyed, but Kelpie has a deep navy overlay and Driftwood is a teal overlay. And I love teal. I mean, just look. They're just gorgeous. And then last but not least, we have a peachy color and a pinky color. So this one is called Peach Blossom, and it is just, I mean, it's just stunning. And I've already told Queen Bee that I need a sweater's quantity of this in Bubble Sock because I'm actually designing a sweater, cardigan sweater out of Bubble Sock with, yes, this. So I'm super excited. And I love it so much. I mean, it's peach. It's Peach Blossom. She says she wasn't thinking of peach when she did it, but it's peachy. This is Cherry Blossom. So Cherry Blossom's a little bit pinker and less peach, and it's got that bright green in it, and it's got more white. So definitely spring cherry blossom beauty, just beautiful. I'm so excited about these because I love these more mild, you know what, they're not mild though now that I'm looking at them. A lot of them have very intense speckling and color usage, like very intense deep colors, but I just love it more than a variegated for some projects. Some projects you just really need something that isn't as variegated. But yeah, before I get into whips, I want to talk to you guys about this shawl. So I don't think I've worn this shawl for you guys yet, but this was Queen Bee's Christmas gift to me. It is made out of Downton Abbey. It's massive. It's made out of Downton Abbey's Downstairs and Garden Party, and it is so beautiful. Like, it's literally giant. It is our gathering shawl pattern, my gathering shawl pattern that I designed, knit with 2 skeins. So it is giant. So basically she just took the pattern and she extended every section that's in it if you have the pattern or want to buy it. So you just go and double, triple each section with your yarn, and yeah, it's beautiful and I love it, and I'm wearing it all the time basically, but I don't think I've worn it on here. I don't know if I've shown it, so I felt like showing it today. But about whips, I think, oh, I lagged again. I wish it would stop doing this. I don't know why it's doing it. Okay, well, we're just gonna try to push through. I'm trying to decide which whip I'm going to start with, and I think I'm going to start with the one that I showed you guys last week, my Spider Eek. So, and I have to grab all my appendages again. Well, you know what? I'll just show you guys some of them. I think I only had like 4 or 5 last time. So I have 2 of each of these. So these guys, this is a front leg and a back leg. And this is another front leg. And where's my other back leg? Oh, I have 2 different kinds of back legs. One has red on the tip and the other one has rainbow on the tip. So they're going to be so cute. And I started on the head. I was waiting to start the head until, Eek's head, until I got my safety eyes in the mail. And I got a ton of black safety eyes. And this is going to be Eek's little face with rainbow. So I'm knitting his face out of silver lining on Squishy DK. That's the colorway. And I'm currently on the part where I just knit 8 rounds or so, and then after I knit those 8 rounds, I'm going to start decreasing and stuffing and then placing his eyes. And after I place his eyes, I'm going to figure out where I want to place some fangs because he needs fangs. And hopefully next time I am filming, I can show you guys a finished Eek because I'm so excited. And I'll probably be posting pictures on Instagram. And again, the Eek pattern is by Susan Claudino on Ravelry, and she is No Knit Sherlock on Instagram, and I will link her below. She's pretty awesome. She's been getting well, she's very awesome. She makes the cutest little stuffy patterns. She has been getting our Harry Potter Club, Hogwarts Order of Magical Makers, spinning fiber every month. And that's pretty cool because she is a crazy good spinner and she spins like a whole yarn every month out of it. So like her turnaround time is insane. for hand spinning. And she's so talented, so yes. And let me see, after that I want to show you guys what, I'm going to show you what Heliana, or, you know, we asked her yesterday, Heliana, she's my youngest sister, so there are 5 bumblebees, Queen Bee, me, Sen Bee, Heliana, and Joey. And Heliana is 17 and Joey just turned 15 in January. And we are, I'm not sure what their bee name is going to be. So, sorry, Ziploc bag. Heliana finished, oh, this is a finished object. I didn't notice until I just took it out and it's bound off. She finished the Gryffindor version of our, and it hasn't been blocked yet, so that's why it seems very thin, of our Harry Potter house scarf pattern. So it's the Hogwarts house scarf, and it is knit in Gryffindor, and it spreads out beautifully when you block it, but I will link this pattern below. And basically what you do is you take 2 skeins of, and even if you wanted to make a non-Harry Potter version, you take 2 skeins of fingering and you knit 2 at a time, and you make sure that the colors aren't lining up perfectly, so you get this cool effect of just almost like a heathered look. But it's awesome. It's so cool. But yeah, she needs me to block it so then we can put I think she's putting pom-poms on the ends, but yes. So that's exciting. And then the last whip I'm going to show you, because I have other whips going on, but I didn't get very far since the last time I filmed, was kind of midweek last week, and I didn't get the video up till later. And we were prepping for the show, and it was the first show of the season, so it was all kind of madness over here in Bee-land. But this is the Mrs. Weasley's Quick Knit Cap that I told you I'm going to be releasing, probably March 12th. Don't quote me on it just because I have so many patterns to release, but this is done in our Sasquatch Aran base, and it is knit on, what am I trying to say? It is knit on a size 8, and this is Safe Harbor is the colorway. It's one of our Outlander colors. And the coolest thing about this hat is because you never change needle size and you never change stitch count throughout, is you can get your yarn to spiral if it is a hand-dyed, indie-dyed skein. So it is super cool. And I've posted photos of the doubled coquette version. So that is what the scarf I just showed you is, our coquette sock base doubled. And this is what would happen to that scarf if you lined up your colors for both skeins. But you don't want to do that with that scarf. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but this one, well, it wouldn't spiral because you're knitting back and forth, and this is knit in the rounds, but it does the same thing that our sock yarn would do on a sock, is it generally will always spiral. And yeah, I'm super excited with how this is knitting up. And yeah, so that's exciting. Yeah, so my friend Hannah, who I've told you guys about before, sewed this for her for Christmas. And I think I showed you guys post-Christmas all of our bags. Hannah made me that one as well, but that was just because she's a wonderful friend. And it's super cute little poison dart frogs. And I'm using Sarah's project bag, Sen Bee's project bag, because she wasn't originally knitting the hat, but I mentioned before that Sarah, Sen Bee, has been having problems with her right wrist, and so she couldn't really keep knitting without being in intense pain. So I took over the project for her, and I don't have any other bags, so I've just left it in there. And it's a super quick knit, so it was probably this far along last night, and within like 2 hours I got it this far, so that's pretty good. Especially since I was watching a show, so I wasn't focusing as intensely as I can focus on a knit. Also, I'm going to confess something. Ribbing takes me a long time. It takes me a while. And I feel kind of guilty about that, but I don't know. It annoys me going back and forth between the purl and the knit and the purl and the knit, and I flick my yarn or knit continental, as some people put it, so I don't throw my yarn around my needle. I don't even know how to do it. I started as a crocheter, so I was already holding my yarn in my left hand as I knit, so it was just easier for me to grasp the knitting process if I used my knitting needle, my right knitting needle, as more of a crochet hook, and my left one is more of just a base to knit off of. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you guys about knitting needles. So last week I mentioned how Dyak Craft are the needles of my soul. So Dyak Craft makes all of their needles in Vermont, and they hand turn all of their wooden needles. They also make crochet hooks. They create their gosh, I'm trying to it's such a long word, and I don't work with metals or anything. They're anodized aluminum needle. You guys, I don't even know. Anodized aluminum knitting needles called their Northern Light needles, and their black nickel. I don't know if they have other colors or if it's always just been black, but they have nickel needles as well. And then they have their steel needles, which are their heavy metal needles. So the heavy metal needles, and I should just show you guys as I am talking about them. So I'm going to grab my basket. The heavy metal needles are the ones that I mentioned last week and came in this beautiful bag that Linda Dyak sewed. They are their sock needles. So I have here, I only had 3 sets right here, but these are their heavy metal needles. So these are their size 0 and these are their size 3. And let me show you the tip on these. So it isn't super sharp, but as you can see, there isn't really a visible edge on them. So the curve from the tip to the full shaft of your needle is seamless. So they use a convex? Now I'm forgetting my terminology of math. I told you I'm not a mathematician, but they use a special curve that you can read about on their website that lets your needles just glide. Oh my gosh, they are beautiful. So, spoiler alert, these are the needles that I chose to buy and dedicate myself to as far as knitting needles go. And I will show you guys my journey through other brands, and I'll tell you the pros and cons of them and why I chose Dyak, why I didn't choose anyone else, and why I chose to do magic loop. So these are interchangeable needles, so they aren't fixed point. I know that a lot of people like to do their magic loop socks on fixed point needle, or yeah, fixed tip needles, so you can't change your cord length. And I'll admit, you don't really need to change your cord length if you know what you like. If you know that you like a certain length for magic loop, there's really no point in having multiple cords to switch out. But the nice thing is that if I ever decide I really want to do 2 at a time, I can do that. Also, if I ever decide I want to do a very lace shawl, which I'll admit, I probably will never do, but if I do decide that, I can switch my cord length. So these are the ones I chose. Their needles are much heavier than the others that I've worked with, the other metal needles. So, I'm trying to think of where to start my story. I started knitting socks with Magic Loop when we were testing Senbee's first draft of her Sock-a-Day sock pattern. I was knitting on a size 5, and I wasn't really sure how to do Magic Loop, so I was kind of doing it wrong a little bit. It wasn't exactly right. So I was struggling a little bit, and my cord was very, very short. I think I only had a 16-inch cable, which is a little too short for me. I decided to go with 17-inch cable, and a 19 or 21-inch are my favorite for socks, but for whatever reason, I don't know, I think I was doing it slightly wrong, and with the shorter cord combined, I was having difficulty. Then I discovered these, which are, oh, somebody's knocking at the door, aka little Ruben, I think, is knocking at the door. Wait, where are they? I thought I put them in here. No, where are they? Hold on a sec. Hold on. Nobody panic. I'm panicked. I'm panicked, guys. Oh, gosh. I don't know what I did with them. Okay, well, after trying the Magic Loop, I discovered 9-inch circular needles. So I know that they make them in, I think, 11 inches as well, and also 8-inch, and they might even do a 7-inch. But that is when you have a super short little tip of your needle. And I wanted to show you, because we have several sets, because that is Sarah Senbee's favorite way to knit her socks. So they have usually 1 3/4 inch tip, and then between your 2 tips and the cord, it measures around 9 inches usually. So you have a very, very tiny circle, and you knit it like you would knit a circular hat. And I tried that, and for a little bit, I liked it. For all of maybe an hour, I liked it, until my hands started to cramp really, really bad, because you are knitting with just this little tiny circle, and these fingers, this part of your hand has nowhere to balance itself or rest. And I'm very used to having, when you're knitting, even if you're knitting on circular needles, you have material to balance your hand out. So I was trying to keep like a very tight gauge on these little tiny needles, and I was struggling, and my hand was hurting me very badly. About DPNs, some of you may be like, Sam, why don't you use DPNs? I can use DPNs, but they stress me out too much. I don't like having to worry constantly that I'm going to lose a DPN, and also I feel like I have too much going on. That's the other reason why I decided to use a shorter cord length with my Magic Loop, because when I have too much going on, I can't handle it, and I get too stressed out, and then I get crabby when I knit, and nobody wants to be unhappy when they knit. So that's why. I just don't like DPNs. I'm always worried they're going to slide right out. It's not for me. So the next evolution of my sock journey, I found Neu Strickenspiel. So, Sockenstricken mit 3 Nadeln. Nadeln? I don't know. I took 2 years of German in high school by some actual German-speaking people, so I kind of know what some of this is. So this is all from Neko Yarn or Needle Company. So yeah, they're a German company, if you can't tell. It says Leichter. Ooh, almost knocked over my coffee. It says Leichter, Schneller, Beckhammer. I don't know what that word is, but Leichter probably means lighter. Schneller means faster. So Leichter, I'm pretty sure means lighter. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm guessing. But Schneller definitely means faster. So Schneller, yes, nice, good. Sounds great, right? I liked them a lot until one broke on me. And I knit 2.5, 3 almost socks entirely on them. And I was working on Queen Bee's second Hufflepuff house scarf sock. So you do have 3 needles. They're these goofy curved plastic needles. So you can see they have like a good flexibility to them. And for some reason when I was knitting and I was holding it in this hand, I wasn't even putting tons of pressure, but right here it snapped and it felt like a cookie just crumbling in my hand. And I was like, I'm not even putting tons of pressure on it. But it's cool because they do hold your socks in a circle like this. And I told a bunch of people like they're great because I was using them at a couple of shows while knitting. And these socks are adorable. Just adorable. You can see them, a picture of them finished, well, the one sock that I already finished on our Instagram and Shank and Bradley Knits pattern, Ravelry pattern store, because this is her pattern. And these are Hufflepuff socks, if you can't tell. I mean, I really liked them until they broke on me. And it's not that I wouldn't ever knit with them again. I mean, right now I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally just start knitting with them. But now I'm stressed that it's going to break on me. They are nice because it's harder to lose one. I still managed to lose one, and then I found it again, luckily, in a park after a thunderstorm. So it luckily didn't travel, but you know, you can put it right in here. You still have a bunch of little edges, and I kind of worry that they're going to get crushed very easily in my bag. But yeah, they're not horrible needles. I like them. I'm just upset they broke on me. And I thought that they were pretty nifty. After that, I discovered the newest thing, which is, wait, where did all my needles go? Wait, I thought oh, it's in my bag, my other bag, not in my basket. The Addy Express Flexi Flips. So I bought these in a size 0, and I think I left the 0s at the house. And I'm in the barn. And these are size 3s. And I knit a whole sock on them. So I actually knit and I think I mentioned this last week, I knit this whole sock on them. And they were great. They weren't too bad. I did find that, so they work the kind of the same way as the Strickenspiel needles, but they are bendy in the middle. So that's cool, and the tips are metal, so you don't have to worry about breaking them. And I was like, this is genius. This is the answer to all of my problems. You know, since they're Addy Express, half of them are the rocket tip, and the other needle is their, gosh, what are they? Crud, I'm blanking on the names of their different tips. Half is the rocket, and the other half is the... Hold on, bear with me. Bear with me as I find the tag. Oh, Turbo. Duh. I knew this. I just blinked. Half is the turbo and the other half is the rocket. And, you know, they worked really good. I knit very fast with them. You know, it's very much like knitting with DPNs. It's just that they are flexible. I would say my issue with these is that well, one, I kept stabbing myself on these points. Like, they aren't very, very bad, but it still hurts, and it was giving me very sore fingertips. Also, they kind of flop around a little bit, and that could be annoying for people. It did kind of get a little bit annoying for me. I would say that if you're knitting magic loop, though, your cord, that could get annoying as well. But, yeah. I don't know, they weren't bad. I liked them enough, but it wasn't my favorite. Also, I had a bit of a problem with their join here. It isn't as smooth as I wanted it to be, so mine kept catching, and I didn't like that. That was a good thing with the Strickenspiel, is that they are all the same. Like, you know, there isn't any curving, weird edge or anything. So, yeah, that was nice. So that's a downfall to these. My current socks, I started, well, the next half to the ones back there, and I showed you guys these last week. These are still an FO, or not an FO, a whip. You know, my colors started to disperse strangely as I switched from the Flexi Flips to the Diac needles, and, you know, I'm not too worried about that. That is what it is, but I know that I am probably getting a more accurate gauge with these. I might have been knitting a little too loose on the other ones because you are changing needles. And I don't know if that's the same for everyone. I mean, keep in mind this video is just my thoughts and my opinions on needles, but they were more difficult. You also can still lose a needle, and they're very expensive. These needles are pretty comparable in price for a set of tips. I mean, you still have to buy your cord, but the cords aren't very expensive, and for something that you can't lose one, and they are very, very nice quality, and they're made in America. I don't know, I felt like it was worth it. Also, they don't catch. Sometimes, every once in a while, if I did it very tight, it will catch. But even here, their join area and, I don't know, slope to get back on the needle, it isn't too drastic, so I feel like it works very, very, very smoothly and quickly, and just, I don't know, I love these needles. These are way heavier. They're super heavy compared to the Flexi Flips. When I first tried them, I was trying Queen Bee's set because she already had some, and I said, oh, well, I'll see how they compare to the Flexi Flips, because at the moment I was loving the Flexi Flips, and they were moving so seamlessly that I don't really, their tips are sharp, but I don't have to push off the tip. And I notice that I do that subconsciously with the other needles. So even though they are very sharp, the yarn just slips off of it so beautifully. It just glides so nicely, and it doesn't take as much effort to move your yarn from, well, you're knitting from the cord onto the needle, or knit it onto your right-handed needle. So that is pretty exciting. I mean, like I said, I just love them. And even though they are very heavy, when I first started using them, I told Queen Bee, these are so heavy in comparison. I don't know, my hands might get tired, which is such a silly thought, because we can knit a whole sweater. like your arms might get a little tired, but like the difference between this, you can feel it when you pick up the needles, but when you're knitting with it, you can't feel any extra weight. They're just so nice, and you have that feeling of them not bending, which is a problem, and even with the zeros. I never feel like I could bend them. I accidentally left the socks that I'm knitting with my zeros up at the house, but and I'm knitting eek with them, so that's pretty cool. I will credit these Hiya Sharps with helping me discover that magic loop is my method of choice. So these Hiya Sharps, they're 40-inch needles, and I think they're a 5.5-inch tip, 4.5, 5.5. They're pretty long. And I was debating when I ordered my Diax if I wanted to go with their 5-inch tip or their 3.5 for the socks, because they offer them in all of it. They even offer an 1 3/4 option, so you can knit your 9-inch circulars as well. You know, they are very, very sharp, the Hiyas. They're super sharp. I don't know if you can see a difference here. Let me grab out my Diax so we can look. I mean, they're not as sharp, but I mean, why do you need them to be as sharp? That's something I discovered. I don't need it that sharp. So let's show you guys. Ooh, and let's show you without them all getting, I don't know. So the bottom two are your Hiya Sharps, and the top two are the Diax. And you can see a difference in length of the actual tip. I discovered that I don't need the long tip. It is nice having the balance in your hand, which is what I really, really liked. And let me set my Diax down. I don't want to lose those. They're expensive. But, you know, I really was enjoying using them. I was using our squishy sock, and this was which is just our 75-25 merino, superwash merino nylon blend, 4-ply fingering sock yarn. So it works very, very nice. I really liked their cord. Their cord is very sturdy. The join is not as seamless at all as the Diac one, but at the time they were going so fast that I didn't even care. I was like, why did I ever bother with the Strickenspiel? Why did I ever bother with the AliExpress? These are so nice. Another problem with the AliExpress is you still don't have that stability because they have the floppiness. So your hands will still cramp up. The Strickenspiel don't as much, but now I'm worried about putting any pressure at all on the actual needle because it broke on me. These, I was slightly worried that I could bend, and I think I could actually bend these in half if I wanted to. I'm not going to because, I mean, they're still nice needles, and I can still use them if I have nothing else around. But, I mean, I stabbed myself several times. It split my yarn, which is something that I felt was absolutely not necessary. This kind of sharpness. You don't want something that keeps going in between the plies of your yarn because that takes time out of your knitting. It slows your momentum down. I noticed that I have much less yarn splitting with the Diax, and they are very sharp. I mean, you could stab yourself very easily with those, but because I am not pushing off of this end ever, the join and the needles, the Diax, they have that anodized texture, so they're not sticky. I think that these, because they're so smooth, kind of counterintuitively, instead of making it easier, it can make them kind of sticky and not as slippery and nice. So, I mean, I still thank you, Haya Sharps for helping me discover that I love Magic Loop. And I was working great on these 40 inches. I will say that I do like how this cord is working better than my Diacs. I feel like my Diacs hold their curve too much. They might have a tip to make it less curly-Q, their cords, but I have not yet found that. They're also, you know, made in batches because they are a US company. So the longer cord was, I just hit myself in the face. The longer cord was a little more annoying on the Diacs. That's one thing I wish I could trade this cord in. But Diac just came out with, and it doesn't work with their heavy metals yet, but I'm sure they will have a heavy metal version too, a wire-coated cord. So their wire-coated, blah, 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 say that 5 times fast. Their wire-coated cord may be less springy and more flexible, and also you have less worry about bending it and kinking it and injuring your cord. So that's worth checking out, and I am hoping that they will send me a cord to try. I have to request it, I think, and I also want to try their 9-inch circulars and have Sarah try it. She can knit a little bit right now, so she can knit very small things every once in a while, so I'm going to see how she feels about their 9-inch needles, but currently they are by far my favorite. And since I am working on a much shorter cord, I am not noticing any real trouble with my cord. You know, you may need to just play with it and warm it up and make it more flexible. So, yeah. But, yeah, when I held the Diacs and I switched literally from these needles and I started knitting onto the Diacs with the same sock, and I did a real test. I wanted to see, and I did this with all of them, I tried to see what went the fastest, what was the least painful to my wrist, my hand cramping, my fingertips from getting sore, and I can literally knit a whole sock in a day, like the sock a day pattern, and not have sore fingertips with the Diacs, and I think, and no hand cramping, and that was my selling point on those. So they just, the yarn just flows so smoothly. It's so lovely. I love them. Yes. So I also want to show you guys my other Diac needles, because since we're here, why not? And I want to show you this real quick, because before I stop talking about socks. So this is the sock ruler, patent pending. So you can get it at www.sockruler.com, but I got it at Susan's Fiber Shop, who does, she's located, I think, near Madison, Wisconsin, her actual shop, but she does a ton of shows. So she did the last show we were at. She does, what's it called? Maryland Sheep and Wool. I don't know if Susan does Rhinebeck. She might, but I got this from her. I also got my Stricken Spiel, both pairs that I have from her. So I have one pair that has a broken needle, and then the others you saw on the sock. This is awesome. This is literally indispensable for anyone who wants to gift socks and you just know the person's shoe size and you don't have them there to keep trying on your sock. It comes with directions, but basically you put this into the heel of your sock as you are knitting it, and there's a way to do it for both top down and toe up, but it is awesome. It shows you exactly where you should stop and start knitting your, oh my gosh, just so cool. Sorry, I'm just like so happy with it. Sorry, I'm looking at the numbers. So it has centimeters on one side and inches on the other. And for that, you can just look up different shoe sizes. But I have gotten the perfect shoe fit every time I've used this, even for myself. So I go by this instead of my just trying it on my own foot, because sometimes your heel can stretch it a little differently, and this gives you just the exact right thing. I'm also a perfectionist, and I'm pretty good at keeping an even gauge across my projects. When I switch those needles, that's like the first time I've ever had a real problem with that on my Stranger Things socks. So when I flipped from the Addy Flexi Flips to my Diac needles on that one sock, and my color started spreading weird. That's like the first time that's happened to me in a long time, and it kind of freaked me out. But yeah, so I don't usually have a problem with that, because I do knit continental and I can keep a really good tension, even tension always. I like to count my actual stitches and try to get the exact stitch count correct, just because you can stretch your knitting weird, and one you could be stretching more than the other, and I mean, does it really matter when you actually put the socks on? Probably not. I mean, nobody's going to be able to tell. As long as your sock isn't like way looser on one foot than the other, but by that point, the length doesn't matter. It's mostly your around circumference of your sock. So much math and knitting. We're all mathematicians inside. But yeah, so I'm going to show you now my other needles. So I have them in this Vera bag, and of course I got this at a thrift store, but actually for my birthday, or Christmas. I got this for Christmas. My birthday and Christmas are like 10 days apart, 11 days apart, so yeah. But Queen Bee got this for me from my favorite thrift store, and I decided to, instead of use it for I was going to use it for my diabetes supplies. My original Diet Craft case fits perfectly inside this, and since they're wooden tips, it's nice. It's extra padded, but yeah. Sorry I keep itching my face. My hair will randomly tickle me, and then I have to do it. So here are, ooh, it literally went right through my shawl, and I was like, why is it lifting everything? Silly me. So these are a size 6 of Knitter's Pride. I think these are their Dreams needles. They're wooden ones that come in all the different colors. For each size comes in a different color. I like these needles. They're not bad. They're okay. The cord's okay. It's not horrible, but I'm showing these as a comparison with the Diac. So the wood is a little sticky. The finish is a little strange and sticky sometimes. Almost like it feels like a very strange sticky laminate. I don't know anything about processing wood, so maybe they put a laminate on all of them. I don't know, guys. But they're okay. I knit a lot of cup cozies with these just because I usually have my Diac 6s on a nicer pattern that I really want to be using my nice needles for a long period of time, and these I just use for a quick amount, or short period, quick amount. What am I talking about? So they're not bad at all, but you can see they definitely have that ridge. Instead of that smooth transition from tip to shaft of needle. And let me show you where I keep my Diacs. So this is the bag that Diet Craft used to make for their needles. And usually you fold them, but I like to roll mine because it fits better, even though it doesn't look rolled right now. It looks kind of, yeah. But anyways, I untie it, and this is, like I said, their old bag, so you can see they came a long way with the new ones. The new ones are freaking fancy, so you can see this difference. Just way, way different. and this one just folds over and rolls and ties with a silk cord. But yeah, so it has a pocket for your cables, as you can see over here, and pockets for all your needles, and all my needles are in here except for my 4, which is, gosh, where is my 4? It's somewhere. And my 6 is on my Inverness shawl right now, that I was knitting with French liaison. Ooh, where is my 4? Hold on, wait, I have to think because I'm nervous now. Oh crap, I can't think. It's somewhere safe, I'm pretty sure. Oh, they're on a hat pattern I'm trying to design. Okay, I remember. They're safe. They're safe. I'm so worried because these needles you cannot get really anymore. Every once in a while they come out with new turnings, they call them, because they're all hand turned. Like I said, in Vermont, by Tom Dyack. And these are their hazelnut woods, and they are just beautiful. So whenever you see me posting a photo of my knits, I will usually be knitting on these. I'm going to come really close and show you a comparison. I can't show you with a 6, but... And can you see the difference in the curve of the needle? And you can see that this is just like... The texture on this one is very sticky. And Queen Bee didn't like it when she first got them. That's why she gave that needle to me. These are what she decided to go with. And she had a couple sets. The hat I showed you earlier, the Mrs. Weasley's Quick Knit, I was knitting on their Northern Lights, which are their anodized aluminum needles. And those are very nice. But sometimes I feel like they're too, I don't know, sometimes I don't like metal needles as much. I think I like their new ones more. Those are their old process and finish. That feels very much like the heavy metals do now. And the new Northern Lights we've gotten that are from the more recent batches, they feel a little silkier to me, and they feel a little lighter. I don't know if that's all in my head, but I don't know, I like it more. If they feel a little bit more in texture like this. They warm up in your hands very nice, the Northern Lights. The Darn Pretty needles is what they call their line of hand-turned needles, come in lace tips. So these are, of course, lace tips, and this is their hazelnut colorway. Back when I ordered them, they had regularly a good stock of needles, and you could kind of like custom order them, I believe, and Queen Bee got them for me for my birthday. And then the warehouse distribution center, whatever, that made all their pretty woods burnt down, and so they had a huge shortage of wood for a long time, and they couldn't make all their pretty needles, their Darn Pretty needles. So that was sad. But now they come out with new turnings pretty much every week, every 2 weeks. And yeah, I mean, I just love them. They're so beautiful. They are my favorite needles ever, and I will never go back to any other needle ever. I mean, well, let me tell you, hold on a second, let me put these back because they, you know, I may never be able to replace them if I have a problem. Goodness. All my cords are going everywhere. I think I need to buy one of Linda's new bags because they hold everything a little nicer, I think. But I'm just rolling everything up. As you can see, I literally roll it like a sushi roll, except for the cords. I let them lay a little flatter. And wrap, and tuck, and there we are. But, what was I saying? You know, about needles in general, I know I talked a lot about needles and why I love this and why I love that. I will say, you know, everybody's different and you should try all different kinds of needles. Don't ever be like me and be like, oh God, sock knitting is so horrible. No matter what I do, my hands hurt afterwards. Either my fingertips are sore, my hand is cramped up, I'm just frustrated. I keep dropping needles. I keep stressing out that I'm gonna drop a needle entirely somewhere or lose a needle. I would say keep trying them. It's definitely worth the investment to just keep trying needles until you find the ones that work great for you. I know I didn't show you every brand that there is out there. There's so many brands. I do love working with Diac also just because they're made in America. So I know that for the most part, the process was not done, you know, inhumanely at all. I'm supporting somebody who does everything by hand, so they are actually an artist. And I like that. It makes me feel good. And it makes me feel like when I am putting the work into my knitting that I am really making art with somebody else's art, and it just makes you feel so much more connected. So I definitely like that, and I am hoping to get some non-lace tip Northern Light sets eventually. I kind of want a full set, but I don't know if I want a full set of all the same color. I don't know. I'm very torn on it, but yeah. So I have one more thing I want to talk to you guys about. I want to tell you about a giveaway we are doing. So I made up these little flyers and I was giving them out at the recent show, and I also was giving them out, we've been giving them out with every order, and we've been posting about it on our Facebook and our Instagram, but basically we are doing a 400 members giveaway. So in our Ravelry group, and the link will be in the description, also the link to Diet Craft, and I will put the links to the other needles that I've shown in here as well, but I do recommend Diet Craft. I do recommend you trying at least one set of needles from them, and they do make DPNs. They make they make their Northern Lights and their Darn Pretty needles in both 3.5-inch tips and 5-inch tips, and their heavy metals they make in, I believe, 3.5 and 5-inch tip. I don't know. I didn't really look at their DPNs, but they make those in, I think, a few different sizes, and they also make DPN cases. They make those adorable, just regular needle cases. Their heavy metal interchangeable needles they make in the 1.75, the 3.5, and the 5-inch tips. So, and all different cord lengths. So, yes, they make everything you could want. They make stoppers and connectors to make your cords even longer if you're working on a giant shawl, like the Inverness shawl that has like a 300 or something stitch bind off. Yeah, they're just great, and they're a super sweet company, so I do recommend them. But back to the giveaway. So I have been giving out these. I don't know how I got talking about the needles again. Gosh, okay. I'm thrown off because I keep having to stop the video and refilming again because of the weird lagging that keeps happening. But anyways, guys, we want to see your finished objects. So what we are doing is we have 400 members, well now more, Ravelry members in our group, in our Ravelry group. So that's really exciting. It's Bumblebee Acres Farm. The link is in the description. Oh, that's how I got onto that topic. Links and descriptions. I will put the link to the thread itself in the description. And basically how you enter is you enter a finished object, a photo of it in the thread. You can enter as many finished objects as you want, but it has to have at least 20% of Bumblebee Acres Farm fiber. So it can be a hand spun yarn, it can be a finished knit, crocheted, felted object. Each post counts as one entry unless you made a hand spun yarn and then you made something out of it. So you hand spun the yarn and then that was Bumblebee Acres fiber, and then you knit something out of it or crocheted something out of it, then that counts for 2. And if you knit a project using one of, well, oh gosh, it's doing this again. And if you knit the project with one of our yarns, or at least 20% of our yarns, and it is one of our patterns, then it counts for 2 entries as well. But you can enter as many as you want. All you have to do is be a member of the group and post the photo in the thingy, the thread, and you can read the other instructions. It ends April 1st, so if you have whips and you want to enter the giveaway, work on this one and enter it. We don't really care if you block it. As long as it's just a finished object, it's cool. We want to see your FOs. We want to see your finished projects that are made with Bumblebee Acres stuff, because that makes us so happy. Seeing you enjoy something, just like at the shows, seeing you enjoy our art is so important to us as artists. It's so important to connect and feel like we're connected with you guys, and it just makes us feel good seeing that we bring you guys happiness. So definitely post in there if you have finished objects. If you are not a member of Ravelry, I suggest you check it out. You can get tons of patterns on Ravelry. You can ask tons of questions, and there are great communities. There are great, you know, if you've seen FiberShare about, there is lots of groups that do, what's the word for that? Oh, swaps. They'll do like swap boxes, and you can have like themed swap boxes, etc. I want to do one in our group sometime. I'll try to do that, organize that. Maybe 2018 is the year. So yeah, definitely check it out. Become a member of Bumblebee Acres Farm group and post your finished object photos in the thread, as many as you want. Look for our update on Friday. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram with Bumblebee Acres. Tag your Instagram photos with hashtag Caught in the Wool and hashtag Bumblebee Acres or hashtag Bumblebee Acres Farm, or all 3. And I would love to see what you guys are working on. Comment. Okay, you guys have not been commenting as much as I want. You guys are not doing your job properly. Unbelievable. No, I'm just kidding. But I really want you guys to comment, because I really want to have a conversation with you guys. So tell me what you guys think about needles. Tell me if there is a needle company that you think I should definitely try, and I will see if I can get a needle from them and try it out. If you guys have somebody that you think has great project bags, stitch markers, other cute things that you guys think I should try, let me know. The only thing that I won't be trying is yarns other than Bumblebee Acres, because I'm just in love with Bumblebee Acres, guys. I just won't be. I can't do that. But yeah, no, I wanna see what you guys are making, even if it's not Bumblebee Acres related. Definitely show me. But with that, thank you so much for getting caught in the wool. You guys have a great rest of your week, and bye. Did you want to get caught in the wool? Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Okay, Touchy, say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Yeah, say goodbye. Caught in the wool! Caught in the wool! Say it. Caught in the wool! Caught in the wool! Caught in the wool! Caught in the wool! Okay, say goodbye, Touchy. Say goodbye. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Say goodbye. Meow, meow, meow. Did she? Say cut in the wall. Cut in the wall. Cut in the wall.